Once, I had a friend who looked at the foreign kid and said to me, "He should leave. He is not like us. He doesn't belong here. And you know what? We should make him want to leave." I thought about his words, and he was right. The kid was not like us. But then I looked at God's words, and he is always looking out for the weak, the oppressed, and the foreigner. In fact, there's a story in the Bible about a king who oppresses and abuses those who are different than him, and his daughter who stops to help them. Once, there was a girl who grew up in Egypt. She lacks nothing since she is the princess of Egypt, and her father, Pharaoh. Ever since she was young, she was taught to hate the Hebrew foreigners. Somehow they have come to Egypt many years ago as only a small tribe of a few dozen people. Unfortunately, they now have become so numerous that they might overtake her own people. Her family is wise and cunning, though. Her forefathers enslaved the immigrants to prevent them from rebelling, beating them down and forcing them to work for the mighty Egyptians, in hope that their enslavement would keep them from growing even more. Although he succeeded in oppressing them, they continued to multiply. If they ever learn to fight, they might destroy her own people. Or, if they leave, she would have to do hard work. Either way, she would lose all of her privileges. She would lose her status and her servants. No, she concludes. Her forefathers were right. It is best to beat them and treat them like cattle, lest they rebel and ruin Egypt. One day, she heard her father raving about how the Hebrew immigrants keep having more babies. "We don't need any more slaves," he roared. "We don't need them to have young boys who grow up to be men who can fight. Kill the babies," he cried. "If they are boys, destroy them. They are less than human after all. It is our choice to decide who lives. As Pharaoh, I declare that all the boys should be thrown in the Nile." She reveled when she heard her father's words. What a great way to protect Egypt. If we destroy the boys, we can still have workers and not have to worry about a rebellion. Better yet, the Hebrews will soon die out, and Egypt will be forever great. One day, she went to the Nile to bathe. As she washes herself, she looks up and sees a basket floating in the water. She commands one of her maids, "Go over there and bring me the basket." She looks inside the basket, and a baby boy cries out. He is helpless, just floating down the Nile. No protection from the currents or crocodiles, except a wicker basket covered in tar. This helpless creature is what she was told to hate and fear all these years? This baby boy is supposed to be less than human? Something to be aborted to the Nile? Tears fill her eyes as her own father's words ring out in her mind. "It is our choice to decide who lives." But this is an innocent child. He has done nothing against Egypt to be forced to drown in the Nile. She was taught to hate and fear this child, but he is helpless and innocent. He doesn't deserve to be executed. So she reaches into the basket and holds the baby to her chest, saying to those around her, "He is now my baby. He will be my son. I took him from the water, so he will be called Moses. A child playing in the water nearby comes to the princess. Should I find someone to nurse this baby for you? Yes, please do, the princess exclaims. As she carries the baby to dry ground, the girl runs off to find a nurse. She may not be able to save all the babies that her father is killing, but she can save this one. She cannot stop all the slavery in Egypt, but she can set this one boy free. She may not be able to change all of Egypt, but she can give Moses a chance to live. Thank you for watching. Consider liking, subscribing, or sharing this video with a friend.